In this lesson, we want to talk about Nic Teaming. Nic refers to your network adapter card in your machine. The network adapter allows you to communicate with your network. You want to communicate between the client's computer or your server computer and the network. This is the area where you would put your Ethernet cable into the network card, and then you would connect the other end of your Ethernet cable to your network, which allows the traffic to move between your client computer and your network. Nic Teaming refers to the teaming of NICs. It means that instead of using one network adapter for a particular type of traffic and a second network adapter for another type of traffic, you want to take all the network adapters, add them together in a team, and use the aggregate bandwidth. Let us take a look at this example. Here we have a server with 4 network cards. Each of the network cards is 1 gigabit, is a 1 gigabit link, so that for the management network you have 1 gigabit. For the VM network, the virtual machine network, you have another NIC, 1 gigabit link. For the cluster network, you also have the 1 gigabit, and for live migration traffic, you have 1 gigabit. So each of the network cards are dedicated to a different type of traffic. And you might want to do that because you want to make sure that each of these networks have enough bandwidth for the traffic within that network. Server 2012 though, and 2012 R2 had kind of moved away from a single network adapter dedicated to one type of traffic. And this is what we call Nic Teaming. Instead of having one single network adapter dedicated to one type of traffic, we have a team of network cards. We refer to this as Nic Teaming. So with Nic Teaming, what we're doing is we're combining the adapters in a team, and we are using that aggregate bandwidth. In our case, it would be 4 gig, and we're going to use that as necessary so that we have overall 4 gigabit bandwidth available for any of the networks when they need it. Let's look at this scenario. Here, imagine that you have a highway, and for this highway you have a separate lane for each car. So the VM lane can only hold the VM cars. If the VM lane gets backed up, a car from the VM lane cannot go across to the management lane or go across to the cluster lane. But in the meantime, the cluster lane only has 1 car, so there's a lot more space. So that's what happens when we have a dedicated network card with bandwidth for each type of network traffic. Let's move over to the right hand side. In the right hand side, we've taken away the lanes, so that if lane 2 is congested, the cars from lane 2 can move over to the left and move over to the right. In other words, class, the bandwidth now is available for all types of network traffic as necessary. One network might not have as much traffic as the other at a particular time. And if that is so, then if we have a team of network adapters where we have one single pool where everybody's pulling from, then the network bandwidth can be pulled as necessary. So that gives us a Nic team. Remember, When we put all the network adapters together in a team, that is referred to as Nic Teaming. It's relatively easy to create a Nic Teaming. In fact, this is one of the easier questions that you might find on your exam. To create a Nic team, all we need to do is to find the server that we want to create the Nic team on, right click on that server and click Configure Nic Teaming. Once we click Configure Nic Teaming, we're going to have our Nic Teaming dialog box opened up for us, and here in the right hand pane we're going to see all the network cards available. For example, we only have one network card for this lab assignment, but in your production environment you will probably have a number of network cards for your server. What you want to do here is simply click on the down arrow by task and click Add to New Team. So you select the network adapter, click Add to New Team, and you have 3 or 4 more network adapters. You do the same thing. Once you have selected the network adapters and say Add to New Team, your page is going to pop up asking you what name do you want to give to the team. You give the team name that you want. In our example, it's team number 1. And you will actually see the network adapters here that you chose. If you want to remove any of them, you would just take the tick out. So this gives you the idea of the member adapters or the ones that you chose for the team. Once you've made sure that you have all the network adapters there for the team, and remember in this example we're only using one network adapter, but in your production environment you're going to have more than one adapter for the team. So we go ahead and we click on OK. Now there's some additional properties, class. These properties are the teaming mode, the load balancing mode, the standby adapter. And these modes you are going to find when you go to your required reading on your site. You'll find an explanation for all of the different modes for Nic Teaming. Once we've created the team, you can see over to the left hand side the name of the team, the status of the team as being okay, the teaming mode that was chosen, the load balancing mode that was chosen, and how many adapters they are. This is the end of this lesson. Thank you for listening.